Wow. And just when you thought the NBA offseason was in a dead period, and I was naive to think there wouldn't be any drama. If you can already tell by the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about the ongoing beef between LeBron James and David Griffin. Now, I want to preface my comments by saying I like both parties in the situation, and I am going in with the most objective mind I can because I am generally perplexed at this situation. So first, I'm going to give a background on David Griffin in case nobody knows and give his resume. I won't do the same for LeBron because I'm sure if you watch enough basketball, you already know. So Griffin started his career working for the Phoenix Suns in 1993 as an intern for the public relations department while he was at school at University of Arizona, and he worked there for 17 years up until 2010. He worked through the years of Charles Barkley, Steve Nash, and Amari Stoudemire, so he's had a lot of experience working with great players with different personalities. In June of 2007, he would be named the Senior VP of Basketball Operations until 2010. In September of 2010, he joined the Cleveland Cavaliers and became the VP of Basketball Operations until 2014 after he fired the general manager Chris Grant and assumed the position. On May 12, 2014, Dan Gilbert made Griffin the full-time GM of the team. Now, if you know the timeline, you know what would happen the subsequent months after that. He resigned Kyrie to a 5-year extension worth $90 million and drafted Andrew Wiggins #1 overall in the draft, and he hired David Blatt as a coach. He was prepared to build a franchise with young players and a young coach relative to NBA experience. When free agency opened, LeBron made the famous "I'm coming home" announcement to return to Cleveland and help bring a championship back to a city or area of Ohio where he's from. At the moment, the Cavs switched to a win-now mode and traded Wiggins for Kevin Love, and the rest was history. Griffin came out yesterday on Sports Illustrated, detailed how he was miserable working with LeBron James, almost in a way as if LeBron directly told him how to do his job. I know what the perception is when people call him the GM, etc., but I can only go by the facts and what we actually know from the beat writers who covered the team, like Dave McMenamin, who was surprised that these comments came out. Mostly because if you follow the 4 years LeBron was there, decisions were ran by him, but he ultimately didn't make decisions. For instance, when the organization told LeBron, we're going to get Amon Shumpert in a trade and they're just going to throw in J.R. Smith, he told them, bring him in, I got him. And it turned out to be a great fit. In their run to a 2016 NBA championship, JR proved to be a pivotal piece to winning that championship, especially with his outside shooting and his defense athleticism, and he just fit right into what they were doing with around Kyrie, LeBron, and Kevin Love. It was noted by McMenamin yesterday on The Jump that when Griffin found out LeBron was coming, he got on his knees and cried because of the pressure that put him in. Griffin also made comments that said LeBron is getting all the credit and none of the blame, and that's not fun for people. But who got the blame when they lost in 2017? Especially in Game 3 when they had the game in their hands and didn't close, which could have made a 2-2 series assuming they still win Game 4. It wasn't Kyrie or Kevin Love, it was LeBron. How about in the same game when KD hits the shot and LeBron's faced ice again? I never bought into the narrative fully that he gets none of the blame because I watch the media very closely, and besides Shannon Sharp, there aren't a lot of media members that don't give his share of, praise or whatever. It's more criticism. And he also said it was inorganic, and this doesn't sound like this coming from a man who's been in the business for as long as I've been alive, which is going on 26 years. If I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, I would be very nervous about having him as an executive to make basketball decisions because you just drafted a young man in Zion Williamson who has been hyped up more than any draft pick since LeBron. These comments sound like they're coming from an individual who is very thin-skinned and sensitive to confrontation. I'll even turn to Kendrick Perkins, who was there during that time, and he said, quote, would Griff have any credibility if he wasn't in the front office with LeBron on the team? Griff, for the last 2 years, you praised LeBron for buying into the culture in Cleveland and how professional he was, and now you're saying it's organic? Your real problem was Dan Gilbert, end quote. And that's what's perplexing about it for me, because all I've ever heard was how poorly Gilbert treats his GMs, not giving them extensions after their first initial contract. When Griffin didn't have a job, even with the executive turnover in the league, it was LeBron James who put on for Griffin to get a job, and he ended up getting one with New Orleans. According to sources close to the situation, they said LeBron's camp were shocked by the comments, and Griffin apparently reached out to them and said there wasn't proper context on it. So they challenged him to put proper context on it publicly, and after LeBron tweeted in a very passive-aggressive way, which is most assumed is a response to David Griffin's comments, we know as of an hour ago that Griffin will actually be on the jump this afternoon to most likely clear up his comments. Unfortunately, I'll be at work, so I won't be able to make a follow-up video immediately afterwards, but I will tonight. That will probably go up tomorrow morning. As of now, this doesn't look good for Griffin considering his comments don't match what he has been saying back when he was working with the Cavs, and that's what makes the story so fascinating, because Griffin is probably riding a high right now, pulling off the trade of AD and getting players like Lonzo, Ingram, and Hart, and drafting Zion, but he still has a job to do. What is he going to do if the Pelicans don't make the playoffs in the next 4 years and Zion comes to him and says, I want to be traded? That's a real possibility, because I think they'll be exciting, but we've seen the Lakers young core try to do it and they didn't make the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see where this goes going forward. That's all for today's video. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more basketball related content. This is Tony signing off.